Well, hello and welcome back, everyone. This is just a couple of minutes of supplemental information that I didn't quite have time for during Mass this last weekend when we talked about society being a planet orbiting two suns, the Emperor and the Pope, the state and the Church. So if you haven't immediately watched that previous video before watching this one, the short version is the power of legitimate secular authority and the power of legitimate religion need to be seen as proverbial equals. One is not in the service of the other. There have been a lot of thinkers throughout history who have been putting forth that idea, and it's problematic either way. Saying that secular authority only exists because the Catholic Church allows them to exist, that's problematic. But it is equally problematic to say that the Church only exists because the government allows us to be here. That is not true. So I didn't have time for it in Mass, but I had another point of history that I wanted to bring in to this conversation as another well-documented example that you need both side by side. And of all things, I'm referring to the book of Exodus. So, as you may recall, Moses had a brother named Aaron. He was the high priest. So they escape Egypt. They wander in the desert for a while, and they finally get to the mountain where Moses gets the Ten Commandments. Now, what you do have to understand, and this may not be very obvious the first few times you read Exodus, Moses is the man of God. Well, that part you probably had. Moses is the man of God. Aaron is the man of the people. He is the mediator between the people and Moses because, frankly, Moses was kind of weird. The ordinary Hebrews, the ordinary people, they had a hard time understanding what Moses was talking about because Moses was so holy and knew God so intensely, and there's a reason we remember Moses as the first prophet. So Aaron was serving a very real function. And in a talk I was listening to very shortly before I wrote that Sunday homily, they were saying that Moses is the spiritual leader and Aaron was the populist. In a way, he was the politician of this arrangement. Now that's a bit of a stretch. He was the high priest, after all. So it's silly to say that he didn't have a relationship with God or anything like that. But again, Moses is the spiritual leader, and Aaron was the man of the people. He was taking care of the day-to-day. So what happens is Moses alone goes up the mountain. Aaron and the others stay at the base of the mountain, and of course, I'm sure you know the story, they immediately forget about God and Moses. He took too long, apparently, and then they had Aaron make them a golden calf to be their new god and all of that. Moses comes down the mountain, sees what happens, is furious, and the story goes on. So what they were saying was, this talk I was listening to, is that Moses, their spiritual leader, was gone, and the people only had their political leader, Aaron. And that's when we make bad decisions. These people talking, they said that's when the idiot majority takes over. When we lose our spiritual pastoral guide and we're led purely by politics. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, when you're completely motivated purely by politics, you're going to make short-term decisions. Because a political leader like Aaron, again, he's not literally a politician, but functionally that's how he is compared to Moses. Political populist leaders do not have the vision to make long-term decisions like that. That's the skill of religious leaders. The populists are concerned with the day-to-day needs and the desires of the people. That's why the golden calf became such a rapid reality. If Moses was there, that never would have happened. But at the same time, using the same basic logic, although Moses has the long-term vision for what the people really need, Moses was poorly equipped to handle the day-to-day needs and respond to the ordinary daily desires of the people. If you love Moses dearly, if Moses is just your favorite guy in the whole world, you still got to understand that Moses and Aaron needed each other. Neither of them had all the answers. Neither of them had the ability to single-handedly lead the people. And I think that's kind of a bold thing to say, because we often remember Moses as the leader of the people, as if he was the only one. That's not strictly true. Moses was definitely the most important leader. At the end of the day, if you had to pick one leader, it would be Moses. But he didn't purely do it alone. Moses had his brother and other leaders in the community and all that to help them get to that promised land. Didn't have time for that in Mass this weekend, but it is in service to the same message, that no one person is supposed to have absolute control over a people, but rather the emperor and the pope, the state and the church, the long-term needs of the people and the short-term needs of the people. We need to see them as two parts of a greater whole, and essentially we need to see them as equally valid expressions of legitimate authority. So, food for thought today. Thank you very much for watching, and God bless you.